like for you to place the trust of your private story in with these filmmakers?
So number one, trust is something that's hard for me to give people, but this group came together and came together quickly, actually, and they have 100% my trust, and they took care of me up there. And then they called me and said, we have a Zoom call with Sydney Sweeney. She's going to be you. And I was like, what? The Hollywood It Girl? And here we are, you know, and this movie is so important, and the time is right anytime that we're able to talk about domestic violence, anytime that we can talk about sexuality, drug addiction, and me, I'm the ultimate underdog. So anytime we can give other people inspiration is the right time.
Well, Sydney, this is after producing films like Immaculate and Anyone But You, obviously producing a film like this really goes to another level for so many reasons. So what were the producing challenges like for you, given that was based on a true story and one of survival?
Well, I mean, we had such an amazing team. I came on and there was already the script, Christy, and so it was already like a really powerful force, and I knew that this was going to be a very important story. So we brought the whole team together. We took it to Black Bear. Thank you, Black Bear. Woo! And I mean, David was an incredible leader. He had Christy's story, and he was the captain. And I fully trusted him. I knew exactly his vision, and we were all just a really powerful team.
Mirrah, I would love to hear about your collaboration writing the story with David, and especially your collaboration with Christy herself.
Dave and I known each other, been together as sweethearts, life partners for 20 years, but we've never worked together in this capacity officially. So it was a little bit daunting for us, but it turned out okay. And we started talking to Christy really early in the process. Lots and lots of conversations, long Zoom calls. First, we were in Australia and she was here in the US, and then I came and met Christy and Lisa in Florida, and we did a big drive around. We went to some fights, lots of boxing gyms, and we just kept talking. I think we all sort of felt that unless that felt like the right energy, then it didn't make sense for us to make the movie, and it felt right pretty quick. Yeah.
Well, in terms of, Carrie, in terms of finding the right director, what made David Michôd the perfect director for Christy?
I mean, he's an incredible filmmaker, and I've really wanted to work with him and called him up. But we just really wanted to tell Christy's story, and she's here today, and this is amazing, like what she has overcome in the ring, outside of the ring. She's here today, and so we couldn't be more proud.
It was first, Christy's story was first brought to me. I had never heard it before. I was shocked that I hadn't heard it before. Not just because, she was the woman who put women's fighting on the map in the 90s. And but because of what she survived is so almost unimaginable. It was that stuff that made me go, I suddenly found myself going, this is the vehicle for me to try and understand how these coercive control relationships work, how a woman as powerful as Christy can be kind of held hostage in one for 20 years. Someone as strong and pugnacious as Christy is, to be kind of trapped in that for so long was, for me, a character dynamic that I wanted to explore. How do they function? And the more I looked into it, the more research I did, the more frightening I found it that, oh man, this stuff is happening all the time. And it's almost happening to a template, to a playbook. It's like these relationships, time again, have the same red flags all through them. And I don't know, suddenly in that context, the movie started to feel important to me, you know, like and the perfect way to do it as well, you know, because Christy's life was so wild and colorful and fun that this would be the vehicle to tell that story.
Similar to David, I was not familiar with Christy's story. And then I was put onto the documentary. It's on Netflix. And I read the script, and I got on a call with Dave, and he said, this is a Trojan horse. This story is a triumphant story about breaking boundaries in sport, identity, addiction, but it's also about it's a little too late. And those signs and symbols were very important to Dave, Mirrah, Carrie, to mark what happens behind closed doors. So being in service of that, which getting to work with the amazing Sid in honor of Christy, to continue the advocacy of those who are not seen. And we all know someone who has, we're close to them, it's happened to you or it's happened to someone else's, hook and arm.
All right, so, you know, Sydney, I'm used to seeing you give amazing performances. I mean, did you see Immaculate? I'm crying out loud. But this really takes the cake. I mean, and just noticing immediately your physical and emotional transformation throughout the film. How did you transform? Who was your trainer for the boxing scenes?
Matt and Grant are here. Where are you guys? So I had an amazing boxing coach, Matt, and a weight trainer, Grant, and we had about 2.5 months to kind of transform my body. I worked out every single day. I brought them up to my place in Idaho. I turned my grandma's shed into my Rocky gym, and I trained every day. I put on about 35 pounds, and it was probably the most incredible transformation. I'd never felt stronger. And it was interesting because you are playing Christy's entire life. So I'm spanning a course of 20 years. So where you meet her is going to be completely different than where we end, and how she moves and how she feels, and the weight of her emotion kind of changes throughout. So it's having to navigate all of that. And then being able to have Christy was a dream. We had her on set all the time, but it was one of those things where I'm getting to meet the Christy now, but how does she become who she is now? And what are the essence and pieces of you that were there when you were 20 or built you to become who you are?
All right, so Katy, first of all, I loved you in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. But I would love to hear about your transformation, your training as well.
I don't have an amazing story. I only shot for like 2 weeks or something, and I was between films, so it was very lucky that I was even able to get in and do it. But it was a lot of like fixing my Muay Thai stance. I think we had the same thing. It was like going from a kicking base to a striking base. So yeah, that's my. I also work out. I don't know what else to tell you.
You were halfway there. That's awesome. Christy, I would love to hear like how involved you were throughout the course of the making of this film. How like day to day, especially when it came to filming the boxing scenes and giving pointers to Sydney.
So really, I was just behind the scenes watching and cheering for Sydney. Sometimes I would be back there in the back yelling, "Throw the left hook, throw the left hook." And she would come back and tell me, "But Christy, you knew I was going to throw the left hook." You're right. Good point. One day we did go to the gym, and it was one of the first days. And I'm like, "Sid, you need to twist just a little more, put a little more butt behind that punch. We need a little more power in that left hook." But, you know, it was just fun. It was fun. It was hard to explain how I felt watching her be me, like sticking her tongue out at opponents, saying nasty things. And I'm like, oh, shit, I did do that. But you know.
When the time came, Sydney, for you to get in the ring, to actually film your first scene, what was that like for you?
I didn't want it to end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I loved it.
She loved it. She loved it. You guys, you're missing out on what you think. Who you think she really is? She had fun. She's gonna probably want to do more like this.
I was gonna get signed up and go actually fight for Christy. We got Christy Martin Promotions.
I have a contract. I carry it with me at all times.
Ben, but you know, the scenes you two have, you and Sydney have so many intense scenes together. You know, when you're trying to remember your lines and you're thinking about your performance, it's one thing. But when you're on the set and you're filming a scene, what is it about Sydney and Sydney? What was it about Ben that you two elevated each other in ways that surprised even yourselves? Ben, let's start with you.
It's a strange job. And a bit of it, language I use is animal. And you've got to sense each other. Yeah. Where's Champ? Is Champ sleeping?
Champ is, he's probably asleep. I can't, he's up there.
Champ's sleeping. Sid is incredibly intuitive. She does her homework. It was incredible to see her working well past the crew and cast to train for the next fights. But there was I feel, an immediate shorthand where there was trust to go to complicated and very dangerous places with an operator. I mean, she just shows up, does her job, and is present. And there's nothing more you could ask for a dance partner.
Tell me about your perspective on that, Sydney, as with Ben as your dance partner.
Well, he listens. And I always find that some of the best moments are when the other actor is listening. And I felt like we could just live in it. And we felt like we trusted each other and we felt safe in all the moments. And we could truly just be and react and listen to each other.
So when I was watching film both times, you know, again, you know, Christy, there's so much about what happened outside of the ring that you really kept private for a very, very long time. And both screenings, when Jim stabs Christy and shoots her, the audience gasped. Everybody was shocked by that. So, David, you know, the actors are talking about trust between themselves, but it's also a trust level between the actors and their directors. So when it came to really filming those kind of heavy scenes, like how are you able to really like capture the horror of it, working with these actors and earning their trust?
It can be a bit tricky. I mean, for reasons that were out of our control, scheduling reasons, we had to shoot the attack in like the first few days of the shoot. And, you know, and when I first worked this out, I was like, oh man, this is so not ideal. But then I think we all started to feel like, you know what, let's get it out of the way. It's going to be looming over us for the whole shoot. And it will also serve to remind us for the whole rest of the shoot, it will serve to remind us where we're headed, you know, to never lose sight of where this thing heads. It was, you know, Mirrah and I grappled with this even at script stage. It's like, how are we going to execute this? You know, we know we live in a world, a cinema world of, you know, an excess of representations of violence against women and whatever else. But it's such a fundamentally important part of Christy's story, and the horror of it is so fundamentally important. I mean, I don't want to get heavy again, but for me, it's the kind of the point of the movie. You know, in the United States, more than 20 women a week are murdered by an intimate partner. I mean, that's an emergency. You know, that is not normal. I mean, sadly, that statistic kind of replicates itself all over the world. But this is a global emergency, you know, and so the horror of what happened to Christy felt fundamentally important, I think, to all of us. And so we just, you know, pulled the sleeves up and, you know, I mean, we barely knew each other, but we all knew we had a job to do, and so we did it.
Just as in the acting department, giving great respect to Dave. And the way he decided to shoot the horrific violence was by giving it to the audience, was not being explicit, was holding back, and that was part of his intention from the beginning. It was not just, yeah, why do we not? He gives so much of himself to the filmmaking process and so much respect for violence that affects so many people. And that moment that you're talking about was explicitly important to Dave from the beginning, was leave it to us to experience in our own way. And we have to give great respect to Dave for handling it that way.
I would love to hear your take on that, Mirrah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have so much to add other than we talked about it a lot. I mean, I don't think either of us felt like we're in the business of traumatizing or re-traumatizing viewers. And the strange thing is that even though cinema has a lot of violence these days, films tend to be very, very violent. I think when you're seeing something as real as that moment, it can be more horrifying than something that's more graphic on the screen. And we knew that. We knew that was going to be the case. But as Dave said, it felt intrinsic to the film.
Carrie, I'd love to hear about the producing challenges that you faced and working with Sydney as a producing partner.
I mean, it was incredible from the get-go and to the very end. She was incredible all the way through. And but I just want to add one thing to that, which was, as David mentioned, we shot that horrific scene on a Friday, the first week of shooting, and Christy wasn't there for that scene, and we knew she was coming in on Monday, the following week. And the whole crew, you know, it's different when you read a screenplay, but they had now seen what Christy had gone through on that, you know, eventful night. And when Christy showed up on set on Monday morning, it was, I mean, first of all, we have a lot of cast and crew here tonight, so we all want to thank you guys for being here. But everyone just was floored watching Christy walk in, and just how long was that applause for? Maybe 10 minutes, and you just felt the love and the protection that we all felt for Christy, and we knew we had to make this story right and tell it right.
Katy, you know, the scenes that you have with Sydney, like what impressed you, what surprised you about Sydney's immersion, disappearing into the role?
Well, I didn't know what it was to expect. I had seen Sydney in Anyone But You and Immaculate, so I didn't know if I was gonna get a violent nun or like a rom-com princess. But like the first day on set, it wasn't even on set. We met in training. And I was like, hey, just don't break my nose, okay? Like, that's my one big ask. And she's like, oh, you can break mine if you want. And I'm like, you might be cool. I don't know. I might dig that. But yeah, she was just like kind of a tomboy. I was really surprised. And then, yeah, just seeing kind of the spunkiness and everything, and then getting to meet Christy. And I was like, okay, there's a fun, a cool attitude dynamic that they both have. That's not just like, it's not just what's in this story, it's what's behind the scenes. It's like there's a persona that's very endearing and you gravitate towards that. So that's what surprised me, I guess. Was that the question?
She wanted to be hit.
Yeah, she wanted to be hit. And that's the other thing is like, I don't want to hit other people. And I told Christy that, and she's like, good luck.
So, Sydney, I mean, as much as you had fun filming the actual boxing scenes, how did playing Christy Martin, how did making this movie as an actor challenge you like never before? Part one, and part two, how proud are you of this movie?
I mean, Christy has changed my life. I'm gonna forever be grateful for you, for this film, for the cast, the crew, the entire experience. I gained a different kind of strength that I didn't know I had. I learned a lot about myself from Christy, and I'm beyond proud of it. So I think that was the second question you asked me.
Yeah, you just answered both of them.
Okay, good.
So, listen, seeing this movie sort of released to the world publicly at the Toronto Film Festival, I know it was exciting for people in the audience and for all of you, but there's really one review that matters the most, and that is yours. So when you saw the film publicly for the first time in Toronto, what was that like for you?
You want the truth?
Yes. Truth.
So the very truth. I sat down with a wall up because what people maybe don't understand, I watched the movie with you, and I see what you see on the screen, but I also remember what caused those things that around those days that you see on the screen. It's hard. But what these people did, number one, as I told you, that they protected me, but they all took it so seriously. I don't feel like it was just a role to them or just a job. I feel like they know this movie's gonna change lives. And it didn't matter if it's about Christy or it's about whomever. The subjects that are discussed, talked about, brought to the forefront, it's gonna help people get out of the situations they're in and move forward. And it's gonna help the ultimate underdog, me, just keep gaining. And that's what we're gonna do. That's what this group is gonna do together.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here. Christy opens next month. Thank you all so much, and enjoy the rest of AFI Film Fest.